This time we'd like to welcome in Leo Peckenpaugh. Played quarterback under Coach Jimmy Feix in the early 1970s and now the color analyst for the Big Red Radio Network. And Leo, thank you for joining us.
It's great to be with you, Josh.
And so I guess my first question, since the passing of Coach Feix on Sunday, who have you been in contact with as far as sharing stories or people that he has touched the lives of?
Well, several of my ex-teammates and, guys that I played with and coaches as well. And a number of media people have called, asking for, reflections on the coach's career. So it's been a eventful few days talking with, some of the old guys. Sad time, obviously, for what we've been going through, but, a lot of fond memories as well of a great coach.
Of those fond memories, is there a moment or a saying or a situation that you remember when you remember the name Jimmy Feix?
Well, a number of them. He was such a humble person and of great character and integrity. He used to always talk about his appreciation for us and his our teammates and how much he and WKU appreciated us. For being a part of, some good times down there. So, yeah, he's just always saying, we appreciate you. And on the field, one of his routines was we won a lot of games when I was there, and we was very fortunate to play with some great players and had some tremendous coaches. And Coach wore that houndstooth hat, and anytime we had a game in the bag or it was late in the game and we knew that we were going to come out on top, he'd throw that hat up in the air, and that was always fun times there because you knew the game was over and we had that one. And so he threw that hat a lot while we were there. We were fortunate enough to win 3 OVC championships, and only lost 7 games in 4 years. So we did a lot of celebrating.
You mentioned that houndstooth hat. WKU fans who did not get to see Jimmy Feix on the field will be able to see that houndstooth hat. There will be a memorial sticker on the back of helmets for the rest of this season. You talk about his humility, Leo, and so I guess what I'm wondering is, what do you think Coach Feix would say today after the attention and the love that he's getting?
Well, he would shield that off. I mean, that's just the way he was. He didn't want the attention. He didn't want the recognition. He would bestow that on his players and his coaches, and he would, it'd be very clearly that it wasn't about Jimmy Feix. It was about, the Hilltoppers and the Hilltopper coaches that he would, and that's just the way he was. That was one of his great tributes, and he, by the way he handled things, we all learned from that, and it was a life lesson. Don't be too full of yourself, because things can change, and they can change real quickly sometimes.
You said that he often spoke of the way that WKU and the community appreciated you and appreciated the football team. Now, after playing here and then leaving to go to the Air Force and coming back, did he ever talk about what made this community special or why he came back to coach?
Well, yes. I mean, his love for the university and the great leadership that was there for the contributions that people like, Nick Dennis and, all the former presidents, and he knew them all well, and they revered him. But he truly just had a genuine love for that school that we heard about regularly every day. Just about, he would mention how much that school should mean to us and how much it meant to him.
Do you think that at the time, or even maybe later on in his life, that he understood the impact he's having on this community?
Oh, I'm sure he did. He would have to. I mean, because his record speaks for itself. And he was proud of that. He was extremely proud of all the wins. But again, he would you would hear him say regularly that it was us that did it. I mean, he never took credit for any of that. And he didn't do it in a real corny kind of way. It was because he carried himself with so much dignity in class that he would, we appreciated. He used that word appreciation so much in his daily language, and it carried on for decades after I left there. And he always, showed an appreciation for you and your family. He knew my mother and father, Bill and Irene, and I never saw Coach Fikes after I left there that he wouldn't, as we started a conversation of, how's your family doing? How are Bill and Arnie? And that's just the way he was. I mean, that speaks volumes for him right there.
Once again, speaking with Leo Peckenpaugh, the color analyst for the Big Red Radio Network, as well as former quarterback under Coach Jimmy Feix. Leo, do you remember a time, and I know tensions can get high on the football field, where you just didn't agree with Coach, but looking back, he was correct?
Well, I do, and it was actually during an off season. I was a baseball player as well, and growing up in the rural Henderson County, I had dreams of being a Major League Baseball player, and they gave me an opportunity to play down there for Coach Pickens. I was allowed to miss some spring practice time to go with the baseball team. In my senior year, I thought I had a chance of getting drafted, and I was going to forego my fifth year there. That I was a redshirt in my first year, and due to an injury, and so I informed the coach during the winter that I was probably going to not go through spring practice and concentrate on baseball, and he didn't care for that decision, and he let me know that, and he also told me that I would have to earn that position back when I came back to camp, if I came back in the fall. And we had a very good quarterback that backed me up, Dennis Tomic, who took the reins, and he had that starting position in the fall when I got back, and it took me 5 weeks to win the job back. And we were at odds over that, Coach Fikes and I were, but I came back and worked as hard as I could. And later, I learned to appreciate where he was going with that, because it was about the team. It wasn't about Leo Peckenpaugh. It wasn't about Jimmy Feix. And he let me know that I let the team down by leaving the team, and but we mended fences, and the coach was right. As I look back on it, and but it all worked out. We ended up with a great season that year, and an undefeated regular season, and ranked number 2 in the country, and went to the national championship game, of course, and one of the finer moments in WKU football history.
That was Leo Peckenpaugh, color analyst for the Big Red Radio Network and former quarterback under the late Jimmy Feix. And Leo, thank you so much for joining us and giving us a little bit more insight into the coach that Jimmy Feix was.
Well, I really thank you, and as the coach said, I appreciate it, because he did mean a lot to me and a lot of my teammates, my family. To this day, brother and sister, my wife, and my 2 boys and my daughter, they all know him and revere him, and he meant a lot to the Peckenpaugh family. And one of my good friends down there, Paul Just, at the game last Saturday, when I told him I visited the coach at the hospital and didn't think he had much time left, Paul said, "This university is just not going to be the same when Coach leaves us," and there's a great deal of truth to that. It's a sad time. It really is.
Thanks, Leo.
Thank you, Josh.